On July 18, 2024, the Minister of Education made a policy declaration that gives a new age standard into eligibility requirements for admission into tertiary institutions. By that pronouncement, students below 18 years will no longer be eligible for admission into tertiary institutions when the new policy takes off in 2025. This edition of the program seeks an understanding to the rationale behind this new policy by looking at the past developments, current educational realities, and how this new policy could impact the future. I am Omotola Mojola. This is Dateline 360. The processes of Nigeria's education system are naturally matters of public discourse, as parents and educators often consider what is working, what is failing, and what should be corrected in the conveyor belt which produces the new breed of Nigerians to be entrusted with the fortunes of the nation. Education correspondent Olayinka Ojo was at the 2024 Tertiary Admission Policy meeting where Professor Tahir Mamman gave the directive for the new age of admission starting in 2025. He reports that the minister also noted that the 6334 system of education will be enforced from 2025 as well.
During the conduct of the 2024 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination conducted by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board JAMB, the Minister of Education, while monitoring the exercise, observed that a reasonable number of candidates who participated in the examination were less than 16 years.
These children who go to university and the age struggle to cope, not only with the program itself, but also even managing their lives.
Worried by this trend, the minister at the 2024 policy meeting then made this pronouncement.
JAMB is hereby instructed from admission this year to admit only eligible students. That is, those who have attained 18 years by our law.
The pronouncement of 18 years being the minimum required age for admission into tertiary institutions in the country at the meeting met series of reactions and counter-reactions by stakeholders at the policy meeting who are heads of tertiary institutions in the country.
Universities.
Candidates have written this year's JAMB and they were approved to write it. Some of them were 16 years when they were allowed to write this year's JAMB. Now they are going to be admitted. We're coming to talk about a policy decision of 18 years. What happens to the candidates who have passed this year's exams, who are legitimately allowed to sit the exams?
What is your suggestion?
16 years, sir. 16 years. Not 18. 16 years.
Let's be factual. What you are saying is that at the time they were taking the examination, they were not aware of this rule. And therefore, if we want to introduce it, if we want to enforce it, not introduce, enforce it, it should be for subsequent years.
Others have argued that 16-year age limit is too low for admission into tertiary institutions in view of the independent nature associated with such students. This is because most of them even find it difficult to take care of themselves and are easily influenced to join bad company by those older than them.
Sometimes when you allow your child to go into university at a very early age, it has some disadvantage because when they are not mentally matured, it goes away to affect them. They get influenced negatively.
They are sexually harassed. Some of them will be forced to start paying to pass, which they should use their head to read and be able to pass their exams.
The use of national identification number for registration of examination is one sure way to monitor compliance, as every candidate's date of birth is tied to it.
All admissions should entail national identification number.
NIN will show your age, it will show your date of birth, it will show where you were from. So they will be able to checkmate fraud through that.
For educationists, there's the need for a review of the national policy on education and the JAMB Establishment Act to consider raising the minimum age limit to 18 years. Olenka Ojo for Dateline 360.
Indeed, 6334 system was considered impeccable at the time it was adopted and served the learning needs of young Nigerians. In recent years, however, a growing trend of early enrollment into primary schools emerged in Nigeria, where children begin formal education before the standard age and spend less than the stipulated 6 years in primary schools. This shift, driven by various social and economic factors, has sparked debates about its impact on children's development. Jesoton Moses, in this report for Dateline 360, captures experts' views on the trend.
Historically, primary school enrollment began at age 6 to align with cognitive, social, and physical developmental milestones. At this age, children are generally ready for the structured environment of formal education, as they possess the necessary skills to engage with the curriculum and interact with peers. This age standard was supported by educational theories and practices globally, ensuring a consistent and effective learning experience.
Psychologically, a child should be ready. There are 3 domains of learning: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. A child who is not psychologically ready cannot learn. Effective teaching and learning takes place when the child has these three domains, well stabilized.
However, the late 1980s saw a shift towards early enrollment fueled by parental ambition and economic pressures. Many parents believe that an early start gives their children a competitive edge, while dual-income households find it convenient to enroll children in school earlier. Additionally, the proliferation of private schools offering advanced curricula for younger children has contributed to this trend, appealing to parents eager to see their children excel.
Some of during these days now, we have some working parents to the extent that they will likely want to get rid of their works by all means. Somebody came here for admission, and after meeting all the criteria, by the time they are checking through the age, they discovered that the child was underage. The parent in question eventually went ahead to go and do a declaration of age for that particular child.
The government created a gap, they call it kindergarten, for a child that is not up to 6 years old to enter primary 1. So the child will now do for 1 year in kindergarten class before he will move to primary 1. But we still find that some parents will job this primary 1. The parent is rushing so that they can give their children the education they want to give them before they will be out of job. The age to get a job is now coming down gradually. So you will see that the bank wants to employ a young child of 22 years. So that is why the parents are now changing the trend now that no, my child must graduate before 22 years.
Despite the perceived benefits, experts warn that early enrollment can pose challenges as younger children may lack the cognitive and emotional readiness for formal schooling. Maintaining the age 6 standards historically allowed educators to design age-appropriate curricula and provide targeted support, ensuring a balanced and effective educational experience. As Nigeria navigates these challenges, it is crucial to consider the long-term impacts on children and academic social development.
A 12-year-old boy who got admitted into this university, very brilliant, age-wise, not yet matured in terms of age. Cognitively, he was a genius. So, and he was so gullible that they now lured him when he came on campus. He was not even coming from home. The father put him in a hostel, and eventually the cultists hijacked him. He was almost killed. He was into everything, drugs, sleeping with women. He was the sharpshooter of this program. So a child must be psychologically ready.
It is clearly evident that striking a balance between early ambition and developmental readiness is key to fostering and nurturing educational environments that supports every child's growth and potential. For Dateline 360, Jesuton Moses.
Perhaps this new policy statement will bring a positive change in trend in the interest of young learners. Now, discipline, maturity, and well-grounded extracurricular experiences for candidates seeking admission into tertiary institutions have been advocated to ensure that undergraduates are well prepared for the challenges of university life. Kehinde Omolosho has been sampling opinions from the academia on the 18 years entry age into tertiary institutions and reports that it is been noted as a welcome development.
Education is the acquisition of knowledge and experience, as well as development of skills, habits, and attitudes, which helps a person to lead a full and meaningful life while developing his or her wholesome personality. Formal education occurs within a structured institutional framework, including early childhood education, primary education, secondary education, and tertiary education.
Students who get admission at 616, we have some of them who still don't see themselves as somebody who has entered a tertiary institution. You know, the mommy daddy thing will still be there. You know. But as soon as they begin to mix with other peer, you know, they begin to see that, you know, there is much more to life than they know when they came in from their various homes, you know. But I don't see any reason why we should be so rigid about 18 years old as entry age to enter the university.
When it gets to social development, 16 years or younger, some of them have carryovers of early adolescent. Some still bedwet. They have a neuroses problem. Some are not able to socialize. Some have anxiety. They are just academically endowed. And academic endowment cannot be isolated from social interactions.
The 6334 system of education in Nigeria specifies that the minimum age of entry into tertiary institutions is 18 years. But like the premier university, some universities' entry age is 16.
Some of the children that we have now are like geniuses. So when you catch them young, when they start early, they tend to perform better than, of course, even when we were in school, we have people who are very old, who were 26 plus, who entered university with us. They didn't do better than those of us who entered at a younger age.
Many of these universities have counseling units, you know, and then again, even at various levels of their programs, we have people they call course advisors, you know, that get it, that advise these students as they come in. Then we also have orientation for these students as they come in.
What then will be the fate of students who are academically qualified but do not meet the age limit for admission?
Number of years between when a child graduates from school and when he gets into university may create problems for the entire country. In the sense that, of course, you know the maxim that an idle hand is the devil's workshop.
Maturity is a complex and multifaceted concept, and not all 16-year-old students may be ready for university education at that age. While some may be emotionally and intellectually prepared, others may still need more time to develop their skills and knowledge. As such, it may be difficult to generalize about the maturity level of all 16-year-old students seeking admissions into higher institutions. From the University of Ibadan, Kehinde Omolosho for Dateline 360.
Now, seeing a child grow and well-positioned is every parent's dream. This parental sense of fulfillment is often driven by how quickly they get employed and are settled. However, age specification by employers and the preference for younger applicants make it imperative for parents to desire that their wards complete schooling early. Anwuli Okolo in Benin has also been sampling opinions on the 18 years age peg for admission in tertiary institutions and now reports.
Recently, stakeholders in the education sector have had divided views on the ideal age for a student to be fit and ripe for the academic world within the tertiary institutions. While some say 16 is good enough, others posit that 18 is the ideal age. Most parents feel the 16 years limit currently on is obtainable, especially those with their children almost at the tertiary level. For some also, 18 years is too much for the girl child.
The rate at which children are growing this jet age vis-a-vis the use of social media, 16 is ideal for children because they are growing very fast.
Intelligence has no age limit.
Do we have about genius who are about 8 years that can even attest on university questions? So we deny such persons the opportunity?
For example, like my children, while they're in secondary school, they're already learning some skills. Sometimes before they finish their secondary school, they already have some knowledge with some skills. So why delaying them?
Maturity, child development milestones are key for educators who feel intelligence alone is not enough to navigate the activities and distractions that come with an exuberant youth-filled environment.
It's not all about parents pursuing their children to just finish up school. At the end of the day, they become amateur students. Getting to university, they cannot perform.
There are some aspects of that child's development beyond the mental activity that needs to, evolve. Maturity that comes with age that those children require. And if they don't attend those, ages, it will be very difficult for you to get the best out of them.
The other end of the divide are the employers. Having matured minds in the workspace is of essence, but so is agility and youth.
To leave it the way it has been, 16 years is okay. So that at least plus or minus, the person will be able to finish the program before 25, and the person will be viable for employment. Because if one is old, and even if you have a PhD at old age, it becomes almost useless compared to when it is gotten at early stage of the person's life.
With this new age limit, we'll begin to have people who are more socially and emotionally mature, more robust workplace dynamics, workplace culture. Of course, it will boost productivity. However, I do not think that this new age limit would force employers to review their age requirements for employment of graduates going forward. But in the long run, employers would have to adjust their requirements for employment based on the new terrain that we would find ourselves with this new age limit.
The consensus on the matter is the policy be reviewed over time to get best way forward. In Benin, Anwuli Okolo for Dateline 360.
On the flip side, immaturity, lack of mental ability to handle situations, cultural beliefs, values, and socio-economic factors are some of the challenges that set back performance in tertiary institutions. To address the situation, parents and notable educationists in Niger State support the federal government's reform of setting a standard age for entry into tertiary institutions in Nigeria. Hussaina Musa reports.
It is on record that the policy of the 18-year minimum age as a requirement for entrance into tertiary institution in Nigeria is not a new requirement. Rather, the present concerns by the people of vested interest is a step further to reinforce the existing laws governing admission into higher citadel as it aligns with the 6334 education system which came into effect in 1988. This is largely due to the fact that 36 years on, the education policy is far from achieving its aims and objectives of equipping the youth with reliable skills that will make them self-reliant, owing to challenges ranging from lack of adequate homegrown technology and corruption, among other salient issues. It was therefore in an effort to identify these challenges and tackle them head-on through sincerity of purpose that parents and educationists in Niger State put their weight behind the advocacy for the reinforcement of 6334 system of education through effective monitoring and administration to automatically align with the 18-year age standard requirement for new intakes into tertiary institutions across the country to meet global best practice.
In those days, where children get to about 8 or 9 or 10 before enrolling into primary schools, so you find out the age grade of enrollment now is very low. So you have situations where children graduate from secondary schools at an early age.
Well, I believe education works hand in hand with maturity. And by the time you rushly push your child to the tertiary institution without maturity, they can easily take advantage of her, the lecturers and the students alike.
In university, nobody guides you, you guide yourself. Your parents are not there with you. So I think when you reach a matured age, it's better.
Majority of them are facing depression there. They cannot stand, they cannot hear their view, they cannot talk because they didn't wait to the ripe age.
Controversial as it might be you sound, I think 18 years would be the appropriate year or age for a child to be in the university. Then you're in charge of your mental ability, you're not influenced negatively by your peers because you already have the mental understanding of what is good and what is bad.
He would have all the knowledge, but he wouldn't have the maturity to take care of situations. His age has not gotten to a point that it can control his sense of doing certain things.
They argue that if fully implemented, the policy will avail the students opportunity to explore other facets of knowledge outside the confines of a formal classroom, as corroborated by a cross-section of respondents.
When they are out of school, that age, 16, 15 years, they should go and learn maybe tailoring, handwork, that one will help them more before they will not get that to their age of going to the university, and it will add more to their appraisal.
Measures should start from maybe remedial classes for them, just like it used to be before, and then those that are good with handwork, there should be more skill acquisition centers where these students can go and learn handwork.
The parents at their own level will have to make provision for their children, either get them extra lessons, teachers to take them extra lessons, or get them activities that will occupy them, that will improve on their capacity.
The educationists buttress that developing independent decision-making skill at the age of 18 will not only enhance career advantage in youth, but also foster personal growth and responsibility. For Dateline 360, I am Hussaina Musa.
Our program today has now reached its conclusion. Since it was on education sector, I hope you have been educated as well. I am Omotala Omojala, and on behalf of all of us here at the NTA, I thank you for watching. God bless Nigeria.